Hello, I'm Johnny Dupree. I would first like to wish you Happy New Year from my family to your family, from the city of Hattiesburg's family to your family. You know, like everybody else, when the new year starts, we all make resolutions. I made a personal resolution that I was going to be physically fit. My family made those same type of resolutions. I'm sure many of you all made those same kinds of resolutions as well. One of the resolutions that my family and I have committed to for this year is to make sure that we're financially fit, to make sure that we've done everything that we can to make sure that our family is financially stable for the rest of this year and hopefully for the rest of our lives by making smart choices, making smart decisions. Financial success is possible for everybody, just like physical success is comparable for everybody. I encourage you to visit the city of Hattiesburg at www.hattiesburgms to find out all of our financial partners. They have products that are available for you that are no cost or low cost. I know that's hard to believe that a financial partner is going to have a low cost or no cost product for you to help you save more, to help you invest better, to help you do things that will increase your financial abilities for your family and those who you love. As you navigate through this website and financial freedoms, I challenge you to do everything you can to be fit financially, just as you're doing everything you can to be fit physically. So look at our website. I thank you for coming in here today because this is the first start of making you financially fit. The beginning of making you financially fit is making sure that you take advantage of all the benefits and all the products that they have out there, not only local products, but also federal products. The EITC program is one that financially lifts people out of poverty. Over these past 7 years, we've been able to bring about $16 million into the city of Hattiesburg and its surrounding community. Can you imagine what $16 million has done to our community, and even greater than that, what it's done to your family? I would encourage you, though, as you fill out the EITC program, fill out your income tax, that you be real cognizant of what you do with the money when you receive it. The easiest thing to do is go buy you a new television or a down payment on a car, a new coat. Those kinds of things that impulse purchasing and impulse buying is what I talk about. Best thing you can do is to critically look at the money that you have, look at the funds that you have, because those funds will lift you out of poverty if you use them correctly. Personally, I have people in my family who make more than minimum wage. And although they make more than minimum wage, they still have to go out and get a part-time job. But they're being financially fit. They're going to be financially well at the end of this process because they're going to take that part-time income that they have and they're going to invest it, they're going to save it, they're going to do it the right way so that they can fulfill the dreams of their family. And the dreams of everybody's family is to own your own home, to drive a decent car to get you where you need to go, to have insurance to make sure that your family's taken care of, their health needs are taken care of. Money is one of those necessary evils that we have to have in life to be successful. And we want you to be successful. We want you to have the best that God has to give you. We want you to have the best that life has to give you. But in order to do that, you have to make some sacrifices. The first sacrifice you're making is to sit down with your time and to figure out what federal programs they have that can actually lift you out of poverty. And that's the EITC program. And you're coming here to fill out your income tax. The second one is to actually, when you receive those funds, is to actually do something with it that's going to move your family forward. So again, Happy New Year from the city of Hattiesburg family. Happy New Year to your family. God bless.
Make the most of your tax refund. If you're getting a tax refund, now is a good time to take another step forward. This video will show you 2 ways you and your family can make the most of your tax refund. Your tax refund is a solution. You can use part of your tax refund for things you need right now. You can also use your refund to get ahead by saving it for things you'll need down the road. Saving part or all your tax refund can help prepare for sudden expenses that come up, like car repairs or medical bills. By saving some money now, you could avoid borrowing or relying on credit cards for major purchases. Setting money aside can get you closer to future purchases, like buying new furniture or making a down payment on a home. How to save with direct deposit or savings bonds. You can use direct deposit to send part or all of your tax refund to your savings account. You can also split your refund between your savings and checking account. Direct deposit is a faster way to get your tax refund than by check, and it's also free. Or you can use part or all of your tax return to purchase U.S. Series I savings bonds. When you own a savings bond, the U.S. government pays you interest that adjusts with the cost of living. You can get your money back at any time after 1 year from most banks and credit unions, but you'll earn more interest if you let your bond mature for 5 years or more. You can also buy them as a gift for others, like your children, to help them start saving for their future. Your tax preparer will make buying bonds with your tax refund convenient. Using direct deposit to keep part or all of your tax refund in a savings account, or buying a savings bond, takes only a few minutes and can help you get ahead. Ask your tax preparer how to make the most of your tax refund today.
Meet Joe. He's the king of physical fitness. He can tell you his body mass index, his resting heart rate, his blood pressure, and anything else related to his body. Joe's definitely in the know when it comes to fitness. Physical fitness, that is. But like a lot of us, he doesn't know much about his financial fitness. Joe just accepts the fact that he's always broke, and he doesn't think there's a lot he can do about it. But there is. When you're talking about fitness, whether it's physical or financial, you have to pay attention to your vital signs and know your numbers. A good way to test your financial fitness is to ask yourself 2 questions. Do I spend less than I earn? Do I have an emergency savings fund to cover at least 3 months of my living expenses? If you answered yes to these questions, then your finances should be in great shape. If you answered no to either question, or you're unsure about some areas, then join us as Joe, our king of physical fitness, begins a training program for building financial fitness. Joe strives for balance when lifting weights. Unbalanced barbells, just like unbalanced finances, create problems. So Joe's financial goal is to balance his income and expenses. He begins by listing all of his income sources. His primary income is his paycheck. He will use his net income, also known as take-home pay, for this exercise. Net income is the actual amount of his paycheck after taxes and deductions have been taken out by his employer. Other sources of monthly income include retirement, public assistance, child support, or any other source of regular dependable income. Besides his paycheck, Joe has no other regular source of income, so his next step is to consider his expenses. He begins by listing his fixed expenses. These are expenses that stay the same each month. They include things like his rent or mortgage, tuition, and credit payments. He has a lot of fixed expenses, so he lists all of them along with their monthly payments. Next, he must deal with the more difficult task of tracking flexible expenses. These are costs that vary from month to month. Joe tracked these expenses by writing down every penny he spent every day of the past month. He knew expenses like gasoline, groceries, and utilities would be significant, but he couldn't believe how the little expenses like soft drinks, snacks, magazine purchases, and eating out added up. Now, Joe has the information needed to total his fixed expenses and flexible expenses. But there's one more area he must consider when balancing his finances. Joe has occasional expenses he pays only once or twice a year. These are called periodic annual expenses. Included are things like repairs, health care, emergencies, car tags, and gifts. Joe estimates his periodic annual expenses could be as high as $1,200. So he'll need to save $100 each month to cover those expenses. Now, Joe can determine his total monthly expenses by adding his fixed expenses, flexible expenses, and periodic expenses. He subtracts his monthly expense total from his monthly income and finds he has $48 left over. Joe's expenses are almost as much as his income, so he has very little money he can save. There's a reason he's living from paycheck to paycheck. He has two choices to get his finances in shape. He can decrease his spending or increase his income. One way Joe can cut back on spending is to pay more attention to trivial daily expenses. They do add up. For instance, buying a $1 soft drink every day amounts to $365 a year, and spending $5 a week to rent movies costs $260 a year. Small lifestyle changes can make a big difference. If Joe is to truly balance his income and expenses and be financially fit, he needs to have a healthy savings account. He should have enough money in a savings account to cover, at the minimum, 1 month of his total expenses. For ideal financial fitness, Joe's long-range goal should be to have a savings account that covers 3 months' expenses. However, Joe lives from paycheck to paycheck, and that limits his ability to save. But if he cuts back on spending, he could open a savings account and put away a small amount of money each month. It won't be easy, but he has to use what he's learned to make some tough decisions. As Joe discovered, the roads to financial and physical fitness are very similar. You have to make a personal choice to become fit and constantly work at it. If you've worked hard like Joe and identified potential problem areas, then it's time to shape up your spending now. Begin by reducing unnecessary expenses and starting a savings plan. Then remember to monitor your financial health by conducting the checkup we've just discussed at least once each year. And maybe, just maybe, you can become the king or queen of financial fitness.
My name is Maria, and I'm a dreamer. I dream the sweetest dreams. My favorite involves shopping. In this dream, I buy anything I want without a care in the world. Buy now, pay later, pay whenever, the sweetest of dreams. However, my dreams began to change after a credit card application arrived in my mailbox. I was so excited. I applied, even though as a college student, I didn't have a job or a way to pay bills on my own. But the application was approved. And when my credit card arrived, I knew my dreams had come true.
Credit is a privilege that can make dreams come true. It helps you buy expensive things like homes and automobiles by spreading out payments over time. Without credit, most of us could never experience the American dream of owning a home. Credit cards are a major form of paying for goods and services over time. These days, it's hard to function without them. You need credit cards to make airline or hotel reservations, to rent a car, or even rent a movie. Credit cards offer advantages and disadvantages. The advantage of paying over time comes with a promise to repay. The disadvantage is if you don't pay on time, there will be consequences.
I couldn't believe I had a credit card of my own. I went shopping right away. It was so much fun because I was just thinking about buying, not paying. But then the bills came in, and I had no way to pay them. Every month, more bills showed up. I couldn't believe I spent that much. The payment letters became more and more threatening. And then, credit collectors began calling, and the calls were not friendly. They demanded that I pay what I owed. But I had no job, no money, and no way to pay. I was terrified.
Every time you apply for and use any form of credit, information about you is recorded. This is called your credit history. It's a record of your accounts and payment habits. Credit bureaus collect your payment history information from lenders. Lenders then use the credit bureau's reports to decide if you qualify to pay debts over time. If you've used credit wisely, your credit report can help you realize the American dream. If you haven't paid your bills on time, your credit report may become your worst nightmare.
My credit problems began during my freshman year in college. I couldn't pay the credit card bills, and the calls from creditors continued for a couple of years. Eventually, they stopped. I thought my credit card problems were dead and buried. I graduated and was offered a good job with a good salary. I just knew I was on my way to realizing the American dream. A nice place to live, a car, and all of the other things we expect out of life. I found the perfect car, which I planned to buy with a loan. But when the car dealer checked my credit report, there was a listing of all of the late payments and overdue bills from my early college years. My credit application was denied. The credit card problems I thought were dead and buried came back to haunt me. I began to understand just how important a good credit history is. I couldn't get an apartment, cell phone, or even internet service. My credit history had become a nightmare that was ruining my life.
To avoid your own nightmares, be sure to pay your debts on time and check your credit history regularly to correct any mistakes you may find. There are 3 credit bureaus that sell credit reports to lenders. By law, every year you can get 1 free copy of your credit report from each of these credit bureaus. There are 3 ways to get your free credit report. On the Internet, request a copy by visiting www.annualcreditreport.com. You can also call Annual Credit Report at 877-322-8228. Do not call the individual credit bureaus directly, or you may have to pay a fee. If you prefer mail, send a letter to the Annual Credit Report office. Be sure to avoid credit report websites that charge fees and ask you to provide personal information. These sites will often make inquiries on your credit report and try to sell you loans at high percentage rates. AnnualCreditReport.com is the service to use for free credit reports, but there will be a charge for obtaining your credit score. When you receive your credit report, check it carefully. Identity theft is big business these days, so make sure the credit report has no errors or no new accounts that you do not know about. If you find an error, file a dispute form with the credit bureau to have it corrected. Never pay a company to correct errors in a credit report. No one can get the credit bureau to remove information that's current and correct. If it's incorrect, you can have it removed for free by filing a dispute form. Don't pay someone to do what you can do yourself for free. Information stays in your credit report for 7 years. However, creditors are most interested in what has happened in the past 2 years.
With my bad credit report, my only choice was to start over and try to reestablish a good credit history. I had a good job, and I knew steady employment would be an important part of my credit report, so that was step 1. Next, I opened a savings account at a local bank. I saved enough money to use as collateral for a small personal loan. Using the money as collateral meant that I agreed to leave my savings in the bank as security until the loan was paid off. I made sure that I paid every payment in full and on time. Good payment habits would help me establish a good credit history. After many months of regular payments, I applied for and received credit from a local lender that I knew in my town. Later, I also applied for and received a secured credit card. The secured credit card used my money as collateral, while I used the credit card to develop my credit history. I made sure I paid my debts on time. One of my proudest moments came 2 years later, when I visited a car dealership and applied for a loan. This time, my credit history showed 2 years of paying all of my bills on time, and I was approved for a car loan. I was so happy. My dreams were beginning to come true.
Maria's plan for rebuilding her credit history was successful, but if she had always used credit wisely, rebuilding wouldn't have been necessary. Remember, credit is a privilege that can make dreams come true, but if it's abused, it can become a nightmare. The keys to establishing good credit are: pay your bills on time, keep your credit balances low, avoid applying for new credit too often, charge only what you can pay for, and be sure to check your credit report annually. Remember Maria's story. Avoid the nightmares of credit abuse. Use credit wisely, and like Maria, you'll be dreaming sweet dreams.
Money. It makes the world go round. Whether it's a growing family, purchasing a new home, or taking a vacation, one thing is sure: it all takes money. Financial success in the game of life depends on a few key steps. The first step is simple: give money the attention it deserves.
When people are considering money, they don't make it a part of their daily or their weekly lives. I mean, I know I never call up a friend and ask them to do something with me and they say, no, I'm managing my finances. And so I think if we can find a way to make that a part of at least our weekly lives and pencil in some time on the calendar, because we make time to go to the gym, we make time for other obligations that we have in our life. And when we talk about finances, that's a big piece of our overall health, that we need to set aside time so that we can make sure that we're managing those finances effectively.
It's easy to become wrapped up in the restless, hectic pace of life. Making the time to look at financial wellness is an important responsibility. And there's nothing to be afraid of. Success with money is all about planning.
Money can be stressful because often people learn about money through trial and error, and that can prove costly in the long run. Money management techniques are not something that we're taught as children. Therefore, taking on the unknown can be a stressful situation. Our self-worth isn't equal to a dollar sign. That's not what money should be about. Happiness with money is achieved when we're able to make what we have work for us and be satisfied with the results.
Building a successful budget is a challenge that's well worth the effort. It's helpful to start by taking an honest look at spending habits. There are some common symptoms that financial wellness is below par.
Avoiding phone calls, avoiding the mail, not answering communications from your creditors or from other financial obligations that you have, hiding some of our spending habits from the people that we care about. Another warning sign is not being fully aware of how much money you actually owe in outstanding debt. There are times where our financial picture can be overwhelming, and so seeking outside resources in order to help with those overwhelming financial situations can be beneficial.
Being proactive with money management is important. Dealing with debt right away avoids the heavy burden of outstanding balances.
There's a lot of people who have a very large income but are strapped with credit card debt and strapped with high mortgages. And so their net worth is not indicating that they are wealthy. It's indicating that their liabilities exceed their assets.
The truth is, people fall into spending patterns they may not be aware of.
When categorizing financial personalities, people tend to fall into 4 different types. Our frugal spender believes in using a budget. They like using cash versus using credit, and they're generally pretty good when they're following the budget. The status shopper likes to make purchases and enjoys making purchases for the approval of other people. The resourceful consumer, they're not afraid to use their resources, their time, their energy, their efforts, and a little bit of money in order to get the things that they want out of life. The carefree consumer generally feels that there will be an institution or a person there to provide them with financial help.
Coming to terms with what type of consumer you are makes it easy to avoid common pitfalls. It doesn't matter what the reasons for spending and saving are. Everyone can benefit from good financial planning.
Anybody has the ability to be successful with their finances. They just need the tools.
Setting meaningful financial goals is helpful. There are some simple steps to follow.
The key to money management is recognizing what we want to accomplish. Setting a SMART goal can be helpful when people are trying to create their spending plans. When setting a SMART goal, we want to make sure that we're first setting a specific goal. Oftentimes our goals are too broad or too general. Our next step would be to make that goal measurable. And that ultimately means putting a price tag on that goal. How much is that goal going to cost? Our goal also needs to be attainable and realistic, as well as timely. Every good goal is wrapped around a time frame. It's important to recognize that we need to be flexible and have some fun with that time frame and realize that financial priorities will change throughout a lifetime.
Looking at a complete financial picture is a big task. Reaching out for help and meeting with a debt counselor is a great way to become financially organized.
Once people take control of their finances, it relieves a tremendous amount of stress. They feel like they have more control over their money versus their money having control over them. They have more available opportunities and options to do the things that they want throughout life. Sending our kids to college, taking the vacation, retiring and living a lifestyle that we choose to live. So an easy way to start would be to pencil in a time on your calendar. Give yourself an hour a week so that you can monitor your progress toward your financial goals.
Being in control of money is empowering. It's a great feeling to spend money and have fun without feeling guilty. Getting in tune with money plays a major role in overall wellness.
Financial wellness is about accepting the amount of money that we do have. People really need to take a look at how they view money and the importance it plays in their life, and then create that plan in order to achieve the things that they want.
Winning the game of life is all about staying in the race and finding meaningfulness and happiness. A healthy relationship with money goes a long way towards reducing stress and allows us to focus on the things in life that matter most. Take the time to give money the attention it deserves, and the benefits will last a lifetime.